Team Kentucky update. I'll warn you in advance, it's going to be a long one. We have a lot of great news about what's going on here in the Commonwealth. And today, along with the First Lady and the Lieutenant Governor, we're going to share it. We're going to start today's Team Kentucky update the way we always do, with news about our record-breaking economic momentum. Since the beginning of my administration, we've now announced more than 1,200 private sector relocations and expansions, totaling over $43 billion. And we've now created over 64,800 new full-time Kentucky jobs. We are continuing to see companies invest and create quality jobs all over the Commonwealth. One of those iconic companies is GE Appliances. And today we're lucky to have members of their team with us for yet another game-changing announcement. Today, GE Appliances announced a $150 million investment in contracts to American suppliers. That includes $40 million to suppliers in Kentucky, the largest commitment in any state. These investments will support the company's new laundry plant in Louisville, a $490 million investment the company announced in June that has created 800 new jobs. That pushed the company's employment in the Commonwealth to over 8,000. This was part of GE's 5-year, $3 billion investment in 5 of their U.S. manufacturing plants. With 1,600 Kentucky engineers at GE's headquarters in Louisville, we will be leading the new research, product design, development, and testing for this historic multi-state investment. GE chose to bring laundry production to Louisville, reshoring production from China to Kentucky, and now they're reshoring suppliers too. GE Appliances has seen tremendous growth here in the Commonwealth, even announcing a $450 million expansion, creating more than 1,000 new full-time jobs in 2021. And in 2020, GE Appliances expanded their assembly line, a $62 million investment, creating 262 new jobs. So, over a 5-year period alone, GE Appliances has been very good to Kentucky, announcing over $1 billion in new investment and creating over 2,600 new Kentucky jobs. As one of our most prominent employers and manufacturing leaders, GE Appliances has helped establish Kentucky as America's destination for advanced manufacturing and job creation. And in return, our workforce and our ability to deliver results has landed us the honor of being GE Appliances' flagship location. GE Appliance is Kentucky. Now I'm happy to introduce Lee, Vice President of Closed Care with GE Appliances, to talk about this newest investment. Lee?
Thank you. We appreciate everyone having us here today. No appliance company invests in American manufacturing like GE Appliances. Earlier this year, we announced a historic $3 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing, expanding our domestic production, creating jobs, and modernizing our 11 U.S. factories. We are proud to be headquartered in Kentucky. And part of that investment was a $490 million investment in a new factory in Louisville, Kentucky. That will be our flagship factory, demonstrating the most modern manufacturing techniques in our country. It'll also create 800 great manufacturing jobs here in Kentucky. That investment would not be possible without the strong partnerships we have with Governor Beshear, the Kentucky Economic Development Team, state lawmakers, and our local government partners who really ensure that Kentucky is a great climate for business and a great climate for investment. It doesn't stop there, though. Today, we get to announce $150 million incremental dollars in supplier contracts and U.S.-based partners across 10 states that will support this new laundry facility. When we invest in U.S. manufacturing and our people, it drives growth far beyond our own walls. It's not just about GE Appliances. We are built with America. These awards show the ripple effect that really come with growing U.S. manufacturing and create more jobs right here in America. We'll team up with suppliers in Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Alabama, and California to make this a success. The spirit of teamwork and problem solving is what will drive U.S. manufacturing to the next level. Thank you.
With the help of GE Appliances, Team Kentucky is showing the country how reshoring is really done. First, a $5 billion investment that reshores American manufacturing all over the country, and now doing the same with suppliers with a $150 million investment. I can't wait to see the next steps that GE Appliances take as a forward-thinking Kentucky-based company. We are proud that we are this company's home, and I'm grateful to Kevin Nolan, Lee, and the entire team for their continued investment in America and in our Commonwealth. And let me tell you, from knowing Kevin personally, I know how much he loves this Commonwealth, and we're grateful for his and the whole company's commitment to us. Together, we'll assure that American manufacturing remains strong, with Kentucky and GE Appliances leading the way. On Tuesday, we also had another incredible announcement from another critical company doing business in our state. Toyota Motor Manufacturing Kentucky announced they are once again expanding their presence in Georgetown. The $204.4 million investment will create 82 new high-quality manufacturing jobs and boost the production of hybrid vehicles. This project is part of a larger initiative, an over $912 million investment across America, creating 252 new jobs across plants in Kentucky, West Virginia, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee. The Kentucky Toyota partnership has driven decades of success, and I'm proud to see their relationship grow even stronger. And to those out there that sometimes question the need to get out and form these relationships with companies in different countries, remember, the largest manufacturing facility for Toyota in the world isn't in Japan, it's in Georgetown, Kentucky, and we are proud of it. Congratulations to everyone. Today, I'm also going to provide an update on our work to restore SNAP benefits as quickly as possible for the more than 600,000 Kentuckians who rely on this federal program. Late Friday, we received the go-ahead from the USDA to process full SNAP benefits. Once again, members of Team Kentucky worked through the night. By Saturday morning, eligible Kentuckians were seeing those benefits on their cards. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of our team, we were one of the first states to come through for their people. While the president always had the funding and the authority to fully fund SNAP during this shutdown, he chose not to, becoming the first president ever to not fund SNAP benefits, simply a choice where he was using our people going hungry as leverage. I will always support this program. Why? Because it's the largest anti-hunger program in our nation, and government should be fighting hunger, not causing it. While the president made his choice, we chose to stick to our values and help our people here in Kentucky. That's why we did everything possible to help Kentuckians during this time of need. Steps we took included joining a lawsuit against the administration that forced the paying of partial benefits. Then our SANE team went to work the first time they worked through the night. We became what I think was the first state in the country to provide partial benefits. We have launched a food drive with Frankfort and Louisville state government offices to help support Dare to Care, God's Pantry, and the Christian Appalachian Project. I declared a state of emergency, directing an initial $5 million to Feeding Kentucky's network of food banks for Kentuckians in all 120 counties. I authorized the National Guard to assist in staffing these food banks so all the money could go towards food and not the additional staff that would be needed with all the extra families coming in. I directed more than $12 million in state fundings to our TANF program. Those are other families that are served typically by SNAP too, that have other significant needs. Those efforts have made a difference. And we have a couple of updates about how we're helping people at this time, ahead of the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas. After receiving $5 million from the state on October 31st, Feeding Kentucky has shared that around 28,000 people, or 7,000 Kentucky families, have received support through their regional food banks. Since being authorized to support these efforts, the Kentucky National Guard, the best guard in the country, has made a major impact. 55 Guard members supported efforts at 8 food bank sites thus far. From handing out food to helping to build 7,000 boxes Monday alone, their support was needed and has made a difference. We are still receiving some updates from Feeding Kentucky as this important work continues, and we'll make sure to share that news when it becomes available. Early next week, we should be able to tell the public how much we were able to secure through the Team Kentucky Food Drive. State government team members always step up, and donation boxes were full across offices in Frankfort and the L&N building in Louisville. Our local transportation teams also took part, and those efforts really added to the impact. My faith teaches me that food is life-giving and meant to be shared. From the miracle of the fishes and the loaves to the Last Supper, my faith teaches me that, especially in a country that grows enough food for everyone, no one should starve. I'm proud that we have made that a priority in Kentucky, and I'll finally say that if you believe in fighting hunger, it should never be partisan. So I was a little disappointed that some of the loud voices we heard saying state government needed to step up and add more money to senior meals never spoke out when the president refused to pay SNAP benefits. Either you're for feeding people or you're not. It doesn't get to be partisan. I'll always do the right thing, making sure that there are enough for our Kentucky families, regardless of where the politics fall. All right, next we have some good news on our High Ground initiative. Yesterday, if you were able to travel down I-64, you may have seen a caravan of hope heading to eastern Kentucky. Louisville housing manufacturer MMY US, who manufactures in West Louisville, has started shipping 8 homes to our new Skyview High Ground community located just outside of Hazard. Around 9 a.m., led by a Kentucky State Police escort, these homes were shipped by truck from their facility, again in West Louisville. The convoy arrived at the Skyview neighborhood yesterday at 1 p.m. to a crowd of excited new homeowners, local officials, and members of Team Kentucky who helped make these high ground communities possible. Team Kentucky was proud to provide $1.6 million to help build these houses through a partnership with Family Scholar House. The Skyview neighborhood's eventually going to have around 100 homes on donated land to help get folks out of the floodplain, with room for more development on the property right next door. As of today, 4 homes in Skyview are already occupied, and 11 more are complete and ready for occupancy. The plan is for the 8 new homes delivered by MMY US to be move-in ready before Christmas. So people will get to have their new Kentucky home where they have that first Christmas outside of the floodplain. And even if it rains on Christmas Day, they know they're safe. That'll bring the number of completed homes to right around 20, and we can't wait to join our friends at Family Scholar House to welcome those owners again to their new Kentucky home. 8 more homes are under construction by the Housing Development Authority, with some nearly finished. At Skyview, the roads and sidewalks are finished. The water and sewer infrastructure is nearly complete. We're moving forward on these communities at an incredible pace. Thanks to a lot of hard work, we've now fully completed 2 high ground communities, Thompson Branch in Letcher County, which has 10 homes, and the Wayland High Ground community that has 14 homes. In other good news, Family Scholar House is partnering with MMY US to build 28 rental units and 10 new homes at our Knott County High Ground community of Chestnut Ridge. At Chestnut Ridge, the roads and sidewalks are also complete. The site will have nearly 200 homes, some rental and some for home ownership. I'm proud of the work our team has done. In total, our 8 high ground communities will have over 500 new homes. Remember, there's still need out there for Kentuckians impacted by severe storms. We've opened the Team Kentucky Emergency Relief Fund for those that want to give. That's teamkentuckyemergencyrelieffund.ky.gov. This progress has been a team effort. From federal dollars to state work to county and city work, this has been everybody truly working together for the betterment of our people. This is the most ambitious rebuild, I believe, in the history of the United States, and as you can see, it is moving forward with incredible progress. From MMY and their incredible delivery yesterday to our housing nonprofit partners and to everybody who's donated to the Relief Fund, your efforts have made a difference to better the lives of our survivors in eastern Kentucky. Okay, now an update on the Kentucky Lottery. For 36 years, the Kentucky Lottery has been fulfilling its mission to fund education for all Kentuckians, and I'm proud to share the impact of this organization continues to grow. In fiscal year 2025, the Kentucky Lottery shattered previous records with more than $2.1 billion in sales. That is an incredible accomplishment. Even more, the lottery's total impact in Kentucky totaled $384 million that was used to help students. I am an education first governor that leads an education first administration. And we need partners like the lottery helping us to create a stronger Kentucky through funding more educational opportunities for our kids and for our grandkids. Since 1989, the Kentucky Lottery has contributed $7.6 billion to the state general fund, and since 1999, $5.4 billion of that has directly funded scholarship and grants for Kentucky students and families. Under the direction of President and CEO Mary Harville, this organization has seen an incredible 5 years. I appointed Mary in September 2020, and she became the first woman ever to hold the position and the first Kentucky native in over 30 years. Under her leadership, the lottery has celebrated increased annual sales by more than $1 billion. Mary, that's pretty incredible work. Over $9 billion in lottery sales for the past 5 years, a 75% increase compared to the 5 years before. Impacts for the last 5 years totaled nearly $2 billion, a 43% increase. And while operating expenses this whole time under her, operating expenses as a percentage of sales were below 2%. Mary came to me back in the summer, and she said, despite this incredible work, she was ready to retire after nearly 22 years with the lottery and a 37-year career in total. I tried to talk her out of it, but Mary decided that it was time. I'm grateful for her commitment to this organization and to our state, and I'm glad that Mary is with us here today to talk about the impact of her work. Mary, would you like to join us? Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Please.
Good afternoon. Governor, thank you so much for those kind words and for the opportunity to serve as president and CEO of the Kentucky Lottery. People will occasionally ask me if growing up I ever thought I'd be a CEO, and looking back, growing up on our family farm in rural Union County, I can safely say I never once thought that. And now it seems clear that my calling was, in fact, to have a 22-year career with the Kentucky Lottery, the last 5 of that as its president and CEO. My parents did not have the opportunity to attend college, but they did teach me to live according to my faith and work hard and get a good education. And really, it was all I needed to know. I went to the University of Kentucky. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Kentucky College of Law. And after graduation, my husband and I chose to make our home, start our careers, and raise our family right here in Kentucky. And our 2 adult sons are teachers in Kentucky schools. I love to talk about my own journey because it dovetails perfectly with the reason for the scholarships and grants that are funded by lottery proceeds, to educate our students and keep them right here in the Commonwealth to pursue their degrees and raise their families. And Governor, I'm so honored to be a part of your initiative to make quality education available to all Kentuckians. And Governor, when you appointed me in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, you asked me to come and be introduced to your Team Kentucky daily televised briefing. You suggested that I make the most of the fact that I was the first woman president and CEO and a native Kentuckian, and I didn't know if you meant like right for this or like all the time, but I took it that you meant all the time, and that is what I have done. It's been my honor and privilege to serve as the face of the Kentucky Lottery, connect with my fellow Kentuckians throughout the Commonwealth, including many of our stakeholders, our players, our supporters, our retailers, 3,500 of our partner retailers, Kentucky colleges and universities, our legislators, our communities, and our ultimate beneficiaries that are counting on us, Kentucky college students and their families. Over the past 5 years, the Kentucky Lottery has achieved record sales and year-over-year increasing total annual sales by over $1 billion. These and the other accomplishments that the governor so kindly mentioned leaves the lottery well positioned to fill our mission in years to come. But you know, the thing that I am most proud of is the high-performing, experienced, knowledgeable team of 175 Kentucky Lottery employees working all across the Commonwealth that made all of this possible. So again, I thank you, Governor, for believing in me and appointing me to this position. I thank our board members. Some of them are with us here today. And while I am retiring, I want to assure you that I am leaving this organization in very good hands. Thank you.
All right, we are very grateful to Mary, and what she's going to find out is when you've done a great job like this, you will go from a wonderful paid position on the lottery to being asked to serve on a lot of boards for absolutely no compensation to help continue your leadership. So today it's sad to see Mary go, but today is not just an announcement of a retiring, but of a hiring. I'm happy to announce that the Kentucky Lottery will once again be in good hands, as I'm proud to appoint Maggie Garrison as President and CEO. Maggie, if you want to come on up, if you want to bring your family, feel free. Come join the moment. You got to be, well, I guess we're not swearing in today, but when you're sworn in, Maggie will officially take the position following Mary's retirement in February. Maggie has been with the lottery for over 14 years, serving as the controller, then the chief financial officer, and now in her current role as the chief revenue officer. Maggie's worked closely with Mary, and she has the full confidence of myself, Mary, and the Kentucky Lottery Board. Maggie, congratulations. Let's give her another big round of applause while we hear from her.
Well, thank you, Governor Beshear, for this incredible opportunity to further grow the impact of the mission of the Kentucky Lottery. And thank you for your continued commitment to providing educational opportunities for Kentucky. A very special thank you to Mary for her leadership and guidance over the years at the lottery. It has been invaluable, and I have learned so much from her. We are fortunate to have such a supportive and dedicated board of directors, and I want to thank each of them, not only for their support of me, but the entire Kentucky Lottery team. I'm honored to work for the Kentucky Lottery. I have a passion for the work we do, and I have a passion for our mission. We have an exceptional team that I have had the pleasure to work alongside for 14 years. Under Mary's leadership, we had record sales, and more importantly, we had record funding for the state. I could not be more excited to continue this success. Looking ahead, we will continue to embrace new opportunities and adapt to a changing environment, one that has changed because of new technology and new player preferences. We will continue to innovate, make sure we take advantage of new opportunities, and really think about how we reach players in a new way. The good news is that we have a Kentucky Lottery team located throughout the state and 3,500 retail partners that are ready, excited, and well-positioned for turning those challenges into opportunities. Each and every accomplishment we achieve at the Kentucky Lottery directly impacts educational support for Kentucky students and their families in every county of Kentucky. I know this is a top priority for Governor Beshear, for the lottery team, and for all those who play and support the Kentucky Lottery. I'm looking forward to many successes ahead. Thank you.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thanks for being a part. All right. All right, next up, we have Dr. Stack, who's going to share this month's goal for our Healthy Kentucky Home Initiative.
Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon, Team Kentucky. So this month, we're celebrating the start of year 2 of the Our Healthy Kentucky Home Initiative. So we began the Our Healthy Kentucky Home Initiative last November with a statewide call to action to do 3 simple things. Eat 2 servings of fruits or vegetables every day, exercise at least 30 minutes 3 times per week, and to engage with others to stay connected. Now, a little aside, I can't say that I followed all those things when this all began. We set the bar low intentionally because statistics show for Kentucky an alarmingly high number of us don't eat even 1 fruit or vegetable a day, don't engage in any physical activity outside of what we have to do for work, and unfortunately, because of these electronic devices, aren't spending enough time with each other in person, and so we're actually hyper-connected but not meaningfully connected. We spend too much time arguing with each other instead of building community. I hope some of you have tried to do this. I think now it is a rare week that I don't eat 2 fruits or vegetables or more every day, that I don't follow the exercise, and we all have to make time for the social connection. So this year, for year 2, we're going to continue those 3 elements as a foundational component and emphasize the importance of eating healthier, exercising regularly, and staying socially connected with others. These 3 activities are and will remain the foundation for healthier Kentuckians and healthier communities. This campaign was built on a simple belief: when every Kentuckian has the opportunity to live a healthier life, our entire Commonwealth becomes stronger. Here in Kentucky, health isn't just found in clinics or hospitals. It's built where we live, where we work, where we worship, and where we grow. And at the heart of that work are hundreds of public health programs and resources designed to improve the overall health and wellness of the communities they serve. This month, we highlight one of those important resources, the Kentucky Community Health Worker Program. And let me highlight here, the complementary theme this year won't be diseases like we talked about cardiovascular disease and about diabetes and other conditions last year. This year, each month, we're going to focus individuals and concrete resources you can use to help yourself should you find yourselves in need. So community health workers, also referenced as or referred to as CHWs, serve as vital links between patients, healthcare systems, and their communities, promoting health, providing education, and advocating for their individual needs. CHWs are trusted neighbors, friends, often from the same communities they serve, which gives them insight into the cultural and social challenges unique to their friends and their neighbors. Community health workers support families every day, connecting Kentuckians to doctors, helping them understand diagnoses, scheduling screenings, finding transportation, applying for coverage, and more. Importantly, they also ensure the members of their community feel seen and supported. Since 1994, community health workers have been an integral part of the Kentucky communities they serve. As of 2025, there are over 667 certified community health workers providing services to thousands of Kentuckians throughout the Commonwealth. From Appalachia to the Bluegrass, from small towns to city blocks, community health workers turn health goals into health action, ensuring no one has to encounter their health journey alone. If you know a community health worker or you are working with one, please take time to thank them for the work they do. Throughout November, join the Our Healthy Kentucky Home campaign as we take a deeper look inside our community health worker program. Learn how this amazing program can help you or your loved ones meet their health goals through the services it provides. When our people and communities are strong, our communities are also stronger. To learn more about the Community Health Worker Program or more about the other amazing resources and programs available to you, be sure to visit the Our Healthy Kentucky Home website at ourhealthykyhome.ky.gov. So please join us in the Our Healthy Kentucky Home journey today as we work together to ensure that every Kentuckian achieves better health and their full potential. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone next week. Governor?
Thank you to Dr. Stack, and amen to the comment on if you're feeling like your life is toxic, let's get off social media where we're arguing. Let's get out and actually see and talk to people. You'll be amazed at how much better you'll feel, how quickly. All right, today we also celebrate the incredible progress that Kentucky has made over the last 6 years in better roads and in better bridges. This critical infrastructure is needed to keep our communities connected, to keep our competitive edge in business, and most importantly, to ensure the safety of every Kentuckian. Since the start of my administration in 2020, Team Kentucky has now awarded 3,500 highway construction projects worth more than $6.7 billion. In 2025 alone, we've already awarded 529 construction projects valued at nearly $1.5 billion, making this our 5th year in a row of billion-dollar contract awards. This continued investment in the last 6 years has delivered real results across the Commonwealth, including 660 state and local bridges replaced, repaired, or preserved, and 20,000 lanes of miles of pavement that have been improved. Impressive numbers, but that's not the focus. Our people and the progress that it represents is what's important. This is about families being served by 145 bridges we've put back since the devastating Eastern Kentucky floods, and those we're helping in the West rebuild from tornadoes. It's about our children who are riding buses on safer roads near their schools. Thanks to millions of dollars we committed to 62 school safety projects statewide. Those projects have built or are still building new turn lanes, better intersections, and upgraded highways. It's about the hundreds of thousands of Kentuckians going to work or to see a doctor along the 3,600 miles of reconstructed or newly paved interstate or parkways like I-64, I-75, I-24, the Western Kentucky Parkway, and the $135 million we're investing along I-65, to name a few. These investments are also about jobs, commerce, and tourism, while maintaining safe connections across our great Commonwealth. From completing the Sherman-Minton Renewal Project in Louisville to the I-64 replacements in Franklin County, we're ensuring our interstate links east to west remain in service for decades to come. This includes critical projects like the I-69 Ohio River Crossing in Henderson, the new Brent Spence Companion Bridge project in northern Kentucky, and fulfilling a decade-long promise to four-lane the entire Mountain Parkway going into eastern Kentucky and to central Appalachia to bring opportunity to people who live there. It'd take the rest of the day to list everything we've gotten done across Kentucky because the list is long, because these are the results that matter in the day-to-day lives of our people. Remember, when you make a road a little bit safer, somebody's kids come home at night that might not have otherwise. When you make that new road that cuts 20 minutes each way off somebody's commute, that is 40 more minutes with your Kentucky family each and every night. When you ensure that a first responder can get to a home or a person in need faster, you save life and you save property. So we're going to keep investing in our infrastructure. We're going to keep it up, and I look forward to more people visiting our Commonwealth and telling us we have the best roads and bridges that they've ever traveled on. Next up, another way we're helping to preserve the lives of our Kentucky families. Today, we're taking additional action in our fight against addiction to protect Kentucky families. On Tuesday, the Recovery Ready Communities Advisory Council voted to certify Lewis, Henderson, Warren, and Estill counties as our newest recovery-ready communities, representing nearly 219,000 Kentuckians. This means that 35 counties are now certified and that 1.9 million Kentuckians have access to the best addiction treatment and recovery support while removing barriers to re-entry to the workforce. This builds on the progress that we've made in 2025 to reduce addiction in every corner of the Commonwealth. Earlier this year, I announced that drug overdose deaths had decreased for 3 straight years in the Commonwealth, thank God, including a 30.2% decrease in 2024 compared to 2023, which had about a 10% decrease. So, after more than a decade, we see a light at the end of the tunnel. We see the hard work of so many finally paying off. We see more Kentuckians getting into recovery, beating this challenge that is addiction, getting back with their families, getting back into the workforce. We see recidivism going down. I cannot highlight the work of so many who work in recovery and in addiction treatment. That work has made such a difference. By adding 4 more counties to our list of recovery-ready communities, including Kentucky's 3rd largest city, we're making sure Kentuckians can find addiction treatment wherever and whenever they need it. Lewis County received its certification thanks to dedicated county leadership who created a model partnership between Fresh Start Health, Lewis County Fiscal Court, Lewis County Health Department, and Lewis County Emergency Management to expand addiction treatment and enhance community prevention efforts. Henderson County, their residents are going to benefit from the Port, a youth drop-in center for 16 to 25-year-olds focused on mental health support and addiction treatment. The Recovery Resource Club of Henderson is also working to reduce stigma and drug overdoses. Warren County is home to Life Skills, which includes the Warren County Sheriff's Office and the Salvation Army, and they operate a quick response team which provides resources to the homeless and those fighting addiction. Warren County residents also have access to the Anchor Project, a 3-part regional addiction project that provides various levels of addiction treatment. And finally, Estill County Overdose Task Force supports addiction treatment and services to the county's 14,000 residents. The Estill County Health Department operates Under the Bridge Mobile Outreach Program, Mercy Health's Markham and Wallace Hospital in Irvine, and the Kentucky River Foothills also provide in-person services while reducing stigma surrounding addiction. Ending addiction in Kentucky is a team effort, but it's also our obligation. I believe that an epidemic that arose in our time, it's our job to ultimately end, and we cannot leave a drug epidemic like we currently see to our kids and to our grandkids. To anyone who's struggling with addiction, there is help out there. People care about you, they love you, and they want to make sure that you can get better. All you got to do is have the courage to go to findhelpnowky.org or call 833-8KY-HELP. You will not be judged. You will be supported. We want to make sure that you can get well, that you can get back with your family. You deserve a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. As long as you're trying, we're behind you. Just pick up the phone or go online and reach out for help. All right, now for an update on the catastrophic UPS plane crash that took place November 4th in Louisville. Following the crash and immediate response and recovery, Louisville Metro Emergency Management Services conducted an extensive survey of damage. The office identified 57 businesses in the immediate crash area that had sustained damages ranging from total destruction to significant contamination. After receiving this assessment, I immediately made a request for a disaster declaration from the U.S. Small Business Administration. This week, my request was approved. I even had a friend whose business was directly impacted, hit the worst, that lost 3 employees, reach out after this news and say that it gave him hope. Now, businesses in eligible counties can apply for an SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. The eligible counties include Jefferson, Bullitt, Hardin, Oldham, Shelby, and Spencer. Applications can be submitted through the options listed on the screen before August 17, 2026. This help comes at an important time where these businesses are trying to rebuild. Remember, these are businesses that folks depend on for jobs, to put food on the table. They're really important for our families. Early today, we also received the preliminary report from the National Transportation Safety Board for the ongoing investigation into the crash. This is a preliminary report that we are reviewing, but questions regarding it should be directed to the NTSB team. Now we're just days away from the Thanksgiving next week. For those 14 children of God that we lost in that crash, taken from us far too soon, this might be the toughest Thanksgiving that their families have ever been through. Losing someone is hard. Losing someone through a violent plane crash, an explosion, is probably even tougher. These are folks that have been through weeks of wondering why, wondering what those last moments might have been like. They're hurting, and they're going to have an empty seat at their table this Thanksgiving. That means we've got to do what we have done as Kentuckians after every tornado, after every flood, after every mass shooting, after every time that we've lost people. We've wrapped our arms around the families. We've told them that they are not alone. Even when we couldn't get out during the pandemic, what do? We lit entire neighborhoods up green so that people could look out their window and know that they were cared for and know that they were loved. For these 14 families and anyone else who experienced trauma, let's make sure we're there for them this Thanksgiving. Let's make sure we're the type of Kentuckians we've proven that we are time and time again. All right, with that, I'm going to introduce our First Lady, who is going to give an update on Violence Against Women Act grants, as well as KSP Cram the Cruiser, which will help other families this Thanksgiving.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right. As First Lady and as a mom to 2 mostly great teenagers, my number one goal is to make our Commonwealth a safer place for all of our families. Too many Kentuckians have faced the trauma of being a victim of domestic violence. That's why Team Kentucky has awarded more than $162 million to victim service agencies. Andy has signed legislation to make sexual extortion a felony, and he has strengthened protections that keep children safe from abuse. Each year, I'm proud to partner with Zero V for the Shop and Share donation drive. This annual event provides food and essentials to domestic violence survivors and their families. Today, we are awarding more than $2.1 million to 29 organizations across the Commonwealth that support victim services. This funding allows us to support law enforcement, victim services, and state and local courts to combat violent crimes and seek justice for victims. Some of the award recipients include the Baptist Health Foundation, Hardin. Funding will be supporting the hospital sexual assault nurse examiner and forensic team program in Elizabethtown. The Davies County Attorney's Office. Funding will go to support 2 assistant county attorney positions to prosecute domestic violence. Bethany House, a domestic violence shelter that serves 10 counties in the Lake Cumberland area. This funding will allow for a court advocate for victims of domestic violence. Springhaven, a domestic violence shelter that serves 8 counties in the Lincoln Trail area. This funding will allow them to support a victim advocate position. Those are just a few of the agencies who will be awarded these funds. But sadly, more than 45% of women and 35% of men in Kentucky experience physical violence or sexual assault in their lifetimes. These are not just numbers. They are our neighbors and our friends. These are men, women, and children from every community in our state. It takes a lot of bravery and support for survivors to overcome these types of experiences. I am proud that together Kentuckians are standing ready to help. We will not stop fighting and working until every Kentuckian is safe from domestic violence. Thank you to all the organizations across Kentucky who do this hard work. I know it's emotional and difficult, but your work truly saves lives. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence and needs assistance, please know that there is help available. Reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline by calling 1-800-799-SAFE. Okay. Every day, far too many of our people go hungry. A child going hungry is never okay. A parent skipping a meal just so he or she has enough to feed their kids puts the entire family at risk. And a senior not knowing where their next meal will come from is a fear that no one should have to face. That's why I'm proud we have so many people across the Commonwealth stepping up to help. Today, I want to highlight yet another way we can help our neighbors in need. The Kentucky State Police Cram the Cruiser Drive began yesterday and will continue through December 5th. We are asking for non-perishable food items like canned fruit, vegetables, peanut butter, canned soup, cereal, coffee, water, powdered milk, juices, anything you can think of that is non-perishable will be appreciated. These donations can be dropped off at any KSP post. Troopers will be stationed at various grocery and retail stores across the Commonwealth, ready to accept donations as well. Last year, Team Kentucky showed up, like they always do, collecting over 204,000 pounds of food. I'm confident this year will be just as successful. These opportunities remind us we can all help. Every donation, every can will make a difference. The Cram the Cruiser food drive comes at the perfect time. As we all know, the Trump administration used the federal shutdown to withhold SNAP benefits from our people. More than 600,000 Kentuckians rely on SNAP. Those are our neighbors. Those are our friends. Those are families. Those are people who we care about because they are common. These are people. These are our neighbors, and our faith teaches us that our neighbors are not the people who live just next door to us. They are the people who are across town, across the state, across the country. They are human beings and they matter. No person should starve because their benefits have been cut off. Andy stood up, he spoke out, he filed a lawsuit to restore SNAP funding. Court ruled in our favor, and Kentucky was one of the first states to process and deliver benefits to our fellow neighbors. We know people are still hurting. We're approaching the Christmas season, and to me, Christmas is about the spirit of giving. And the Cram the Cruiser food drive is the perfect way to show that spirit. So let's cram the cruiser, make the holidays a little bit easier and a lot brighter for our friends and family across the Commonwealth. More information can be found at kentuckystatepolice.ky.gov. And now the Lieutenant Governor is going to come up and talk about the Main Street program and rising screenings.
All right, good afternoon. We have an update on Rising, the documentary from Team Kentucky that tells the story of the strength and resilience of Eastern Kentuckians following the deadly 2022 floods. I'm excited to announce there are 2 additional screenings of the film. The first will be in Lexington at the historic Kentucky Theater on Thursday, December 4th at 7 p.m. Next, we'll host a screening in Louisville at the Kentucky Center, Baumhart Theater, on Thursday, January 15th. You can learn more by visiting rising.ky.gov. There you'll find the event ticket links, more information on the documentary, and how to donate to the Team Kentucky Emergency Relief Fund. All proceeds go directly to help disaster survivors across the Commonwealth. And next, I'm excited to share some good news about investments happening in our Kentucky Main Street communities. The Kentucky Main Street program contributes to Kentucky's thriving $14.3 billion tourism industry, an industry that has seen 3 straight record-breaking years here in the Commonwealth. This program builds on our new Kentucky Home initiative by revitalizing downtowns, attracting new businesses and opportunities for our people, and by welcoming our visitors. In the first half of 2025, our Main Street communities reported $21.2 million in investments in downtown commercial districts. They also created over 1,200 new jobs and welcomed 41 new businesses. Now that is real progress. These investments touch so many of our communities across the Commonwealth, and that is why I wanted to make sure to encourage everyone today to visit a Kentucky Main Street community this Christmas season, especially on Shop Small Saturday, which is the Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend, to help support our local businesses. From Bardstown to Cumberland to Murray and Pineville, our main streets are filled with local shops and experiences that make every downtown unique. When you shop locally, your money goes back into the pockets of the people in your community. For a list of participating main streets and events, visit heritage.ky.gov, and don't forget to shop small next Saturday. Governor?
Shop Small Saturday this year is Saturday, November 29th. That is also the day of the Governor's Cup. That is also my birthday, which may be the first time that a Governor's Cup will be handed out on a governor's birthday. The football game will be much more exciting than a 48th birthday. Now for this week's Team Kentucky All-Star. I've always said that Kentucky has some of the best emergency management teams in the world, and now we got a title to back that up. This week, the International Association of Emergency Managers named Woodford County Director Drew Chandler as the 2025 Emergency Manager of the Year. His leadership over the last decade has transformed Woodford County's program through his commitment to preparedness, innovation, and community collaboration. Director Chandler has navigated major emergencies in Woodford County like ice storms, chemical spills, and the devastating floods in February and April of this year. In addition to his great leadership, some accomplishments that garnered this award included launching Woodford County Alerts, their emergency notification system that has been replicated across the country. He secured over $4.1 million in grants for life-saving infrastructure, and he co-founded the Kentucky Emergency Services Conference, an organization that donates substantial funds for professional development for emergency teams. I think we all know how important it is to be prepared, and the work that Director Chandler has done for Woodford County and the state will save lives and has saved lives. So congratulations, Drew. You're not only the 2025 Emergency Manager of the Year, but you're this week's Team Kentucky All-Star. Admittedly, this one doesn't come with a trophy, but a lot of gratitude from the state. All right, before we open it up to questions, just a couple of quick things. Earlier this month, we lowered flags for 3 reasons. First, Governor Collins' passing. Second, the UPS plane crash. And third, the reason that they are still down is the death of Vice President Dick Cheney. Now that his funeral services were carried out this morning at Washington National Cathedral and that he is being interned in a private ceremony today, flags will return to full staff at sunset today. Also, there will be no Team Kentucky update next week as it's Thanksgiving. And we figure we give everyone at least a good Thanksgiving off. So we'll be back with our next update December 4th at a regular time, 12:30 p.m. With that, we have a lot of journalists in the room. I'll go through them, and then we've got a number online too. I've got a hard out at about 2:40, so I will try to give short answers. We've got a list we'll go down. First, Alexandra from WHAS.
Hi, Governor. I have two questions, if I can. NTSB investigators found evidence of fatigue cracks and overstress failure. Should UPS be responsible for this?
I've only gotten to view fairly quickly the preliminary report that came out. Certainly what jumps out is the fatigue or stress cracks. I want to learn a little bit more about what that means. I do know that the plane had undergone, at least from what I read, the regular suggested maintenance and reviews, but certainly this is something we have to learn more about. In the end, this was a UPS plane that was involved, so UPS needs to be a part of the healing and the help to families. They've set up a significant fund that right now is providing a lot of help. So we're watching the situation, but I am at least pleased that UPS is directly communicating with families, with those impacted, and will continue to hope and encourage them to do their part to rebuild.
My second question, is it fair that medical cannabis dispensaries can sell their licenses and change physical addresses? And do you think that this has the potential to push out compliance?
The medical cannabis program was set up through clear and transparent rules and regulations, all of which were published, all of which people could have objected to, all of which went through the legislature. To change them now would subject it to lawsuits, would probably require us to redo the entire thing and push off access to folks for probably a couple of years. What we did is we put patients first. Before business, before everything else, we put the veterans suffering from PTSD first, and we are going to have one of the fastest programs from initiation, from when we could hold that lottery to ultimate product on the shelf, which we believe will be at the end of this year, without a single court order enjoining us that I've seen in the country. Okay, Carolina.
Governor, state testing results that were released earlier this week show that Kentucky students performed better the last school year than they have in prior years. So, moving into a budget session, what does this tell you in terms of investment?
Yeah.
What would you like to see in government?
Well, very proud of our educators and our Kentucky students for test results, though they need to be better than they are right now. I think we all want improvement and significant improvement. What we need is continued investment. I'll be releasing portions of my budget likely in December as we get close to the next session of the General Assembly. But certainly it requires investment in students. That's the SEEK formula and other investments that can be made. It requires investments in facilities like we've made to our CTE programs over the years, and it requires investment in our educators. If we want the best of the best educating our kids, which will always help in test scores, we've got to make sure that they are fairly compensated. But I think the most important thing we can do to improve our test scores over time and make sure we don't lose any kids is finally pass pre-K for all 4-year-olds in Kentucky. When we look at those test scores going up, that's great, but we still have over 50% of Kentucky kids that show up to kindergarten not ready. And in the past, I don't think I've given tangible examples of that. So I had a kindergarten teacher that was in my office the other day that had 5 students that showed up for kindergarten not potty trained. How are you going to educate those kids at that point? Another one had, I think, 10 students that didn't know their colors yet. So pre-K gives us the opportunity not to have people fall behind before they ever start and to continue to improve those scores. So all pieces that we ought to invest in, all nonpartisan. I continue to remind people that when I say pre-K for all and they say, oh, that's just political, that 4-year-olds can't vote. They can't register, and that they're not a part of any party. They just deserve our investment. Bodie.
Thank you, Governor. On the GE announcement, aside from Louisville already having some existing infrastructure there, was there anything else that kind of helped position Kentucky for moving these services here and pull back the curtain some on some of the
Yeah.
deal making that was involved there? If there was a timeline that led up to this announcement.
I've been talking with our major Kentucky employers and smaller Kentucky employers about sourcing more of their supply chain in Kentucky for the last several years. We can bring in a new employer, we can help someone expand, but also when we connect one Kentucky company with another, we reduce their transportation costs, we reduce their input costs that go in to that whole, to that final product. We give them more reliability because they can communicate in real time with that other company, and we get jobs on both ends. Now, I think this is just another step in what happened in that last big announcement when GE put in the dishwasher unit. So GE put in the dishwasher unit, and they have a stainless steel dishwasher that we have in the governor's mansion. It works really well. But when they were doing the stainless steel, they sourced it with North American Stainless just down the road in Carroll County. So they added, I think, about 500 jobs on the line in Louisville at GE Appliances, but it created about 100 extra jobs at North American Stainless. And I know how proud Kevin Nolan and GE Appliances were at that time about the impact that it made, but also saw that reliability. So this is their commitment. This is Kevin's commitment to America, not just Kentucky, but when Kevin and GE Appliances make a commitment to America, it comes right out of Kentucky and Louisville, Kentucky. They believe in American manufacturing, and we lost too much American manufacturing, and so this is going to support the suppliers, help them build up, and ultimately that'll benefit GE and others. But this is somebody I talk to on a regular basis because I want to pick his brain and GE Appliances brain about how we do more of this. I mean, they're a great Team Kentucky partner, both in the investments and in the advice. Stefan.
Well, Governor, with GE Appliances receiving state support for this large expansion, what commitments has the company made in return, and how will you ensure Kentucky taxpayers see long-term growth beyond the 800 jobs announced today?
Yeah, when I look at GE Appliances, this used to be one of the largest, if not the largest employer in Kentucky. That's UPS right now. They'd gotten down to just a couple thousand jobs in the last administration, and they started growing from there. They really started growing when they were able to break away from the bigger GE and become their own company with their own margins that didn't contribute to that overall GE stock price. And just to see the growth now up to 8,000 strong is incredible. We have incentivized these investments, but all our incentives are earned here in Kentucky. We don't just give cash payments. So you don't create the jobs, you don't get the full incentive. As long as you are within a certain margin of error, you get a percentage of those. Thus far, they have met. In fact, they have exceeded every single one of those deals we've seen. Remember, they have a certain time period to do them. And they don't get a cash payment. They get a credit off of different taxes that they would otherwise pay, but for the new jobs that are coming in. And I'm proud that Kentucky has stuck to that. Yes, we have some newer forms of incentives that help us compete with other places, but more than just about any other state we compete with, you got to earn them to ultimately get that incentive. But I see a company that is growing, that is excited. You can feel it when you're out there. They're repurposing buildings, and I don't think this will be the last announcement while I'm governor that we'll hear from GE Appliances. Logan.
Yeah, so we heard from the VP of Close Care, they're proud to be in Kentucky. We know that there's some factories going to create 800 new jobs. Hopefully bring all this business to and keep it in Kentucky. For the average Kentuckian, not GE Appliances, why would they care? Tell us why this impacts the average Kentuckian.
Yeah. Well, first, the average Kentuckian cares about their neighbor. And there are hundreds of extra families that are able to put food on their table, that have a good job, that are going to be able to provide that better future for their kids. You know, one of the things I'm most concerned about in the United States right now is the number of people who believe the American dream is no longer attainable. One of the reasons that our country's been so productive is the idea that if you work hard and play by the rules, you can get ahead. But right now, you look at the cost of housing, you look at the cost of groceries. You know, people can't afford a home in the same decade that their parents did, and can't take their family on that same vacation that they were able to. Well, with good jobs and stable jobs like this, more families have a chance to achieve that American dream. But today, in addition to the big previous announcement that came with the jobs from GE Appliances, they're sourcing more materials in Kentucky. So you may live somewhere outside of Louisville where those materials are coming from, and you'll see extra jobs. It might not make an announcement. It might not be 50. But if it's 3 here, 5 there, and 8 somewhere else, I remember the Great Recession, and we celebrated when we could create those 8 jobs. They are just as important to those 8 families. So how I see GE Appliances is it's a major driver, just like a Ford, a Toyota, or others. And when they're doing well, all those suppliers around them do well. And now they have more Kentucky suppliers than ever before. All right, on the phone, we have Tom Latek.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon to you. In your press release on the GE Appliances investment, it mentions, without saying what it is, a company in Frankfurt. Can you tell me what that is?
Oh, Tom, let me get you that information. It is not in my notes, but I had that. We'll get that to you directly. Next we have somebody with the Kentucky Lantern.
Hi, Governor Beshear. This is Liam Niemeyer. I wanted to ask you, just over the past couple of months, there's been moves by utilities in Kentucky, namely LG&E and KU and Kentucky Power, to try to extend the life and usability of older coal-fired power plants. Specifically in the case of Kentucky Power, they want to keep their share of power capacity at the Mitchell plant in West Virginia, but they also say that they need investment to shore up one of the concrete cooling towers that they're going to be applying for federal money from the Trump administration to try to shore that up. There's been some critics that say that it's not necessarily a wise investment, though the utilities argue that it is. What do you make of those efforts by utilities to try to extend the life of coal-fired power? Is it a good or a bad investment for ratepayers?
Well, I think what you're going to see in America over the next decade plus is very few power production facilities going offline. I believe that the demand for power is increasing at an almost exponential rate. The need for power just by data centers, much less the different parts of our growing economy, though many states' economies aren't growing, are going to need it. We're very quickly going to have a math problem where the need for power is less, potentially substantially less, than the supply for power. And so I think what you're going to see as a realistic approach in virtually every state is a continuation of older forms of the production of power, but just about everything new coming online being cleaner and being greener. Now, every business that comes to Kentucky asks for 3 things when it comes to power. They ask for affordability, reliability, and sustainability, and typically in that order. We've got to be able to produce power at a level our families and our businesses can afford. The lights can't go off. We've got to assure companies that we will be able to supply that power all year long. And finally, I think we will see continued movement towards sustainability, not because of any policy of any presidential administration, but because the employers that are coming to Kentucky and elsewhere are demanding a larger portion of their energy portfolio be more sustainable. So that's the realistic direction I see power production in America going, with everything new being state-of-the-art and more sustainable, but with a huge demand coming. I don't see too many current means of production going offline. Isaiah Kim Martinez.
Thank you, Governor. I wanted to go back to the GE Appliances announcement. Can you speak a little bit to specifically Jones Plastic and Engineering? They're headquartered in Louisville, actually, and then, of course, the Williamsburg facility. I mean, can you just speak to, I mean, these are homegrown companies, especially in Louisville, the significance of that moving forward, knowing that they're getting this extra money?
That's a really good point. These $40 million in extra contracts to Kentucky suppliers aren't going to huge name companies that were around GE, but they might not have known. They are going to companies that are typically small businesses that have grown right here in Kentucky, that are some of the most important employers in their communities, and they are all over this Commonwealth. You know, the vast majority of our jobs are in small businesses in Kentucky, and I think you'll see a lot of benefit to them. So the example you gave and others that are out there, this is going to make a meaningful difference, and the security that it's going to provide for those other Kentucky businesses and small businesses. Now, a contract from a company like GE Appliances gives you the security to potentially invest more. You know the demand is going to be there. You know that it's not something that could be canceled next week or next month. So GE Appliances is the rising tide that's going to lift a lot of boats of small businesses across Kentucky. That's a really good point. We have Julia from Spectrum News.
Hi, Governor. You touched on it earlier, but reading and math scores for 4th and 8th graders have always kind of remained under 50% proficiency in the past couple years. You said it earlier, but besides expanding on early childhood education, what more can Kentucky do to support students who may be lagging behind?
Yeah. Certainly on the government side, we can better fund education through the students, better fund education by attracting the best educators and having more competitive wages. We can invest in our physical plant, our schools, because the technology that they have and the facilities is really important to that learning environment. And we can pass pre-K for all 4-year-olds so that half of our kids don't start off failing. I mean, we look at test scores later on, and just think about it. Half have been trying to catch up since kindergarten, since the very start. Now, there are lots of other organizations out there that we should support. There are lots of nonprofits that may provide tutoring or other services. There are intervention programs that can help with youth that might have fallen off track, not just scholastically, but in other parts of their life. We need to look at the whole needs of the child, including having enough to eat. Because when we cut different programs to schools, a hungry kid isn't going to be able to learn algebra on a given day. You know, a hungry kid's going to be focused on their stomach and not on the screen or the papers or the books in front of them, if there are still books. With my kids, I struggle to actually find a textbook. And finally, Addie Miners from WLKY.
Governor, was just curious. I know that this is the third investment that GE has made this year since the summer, really. And I know that it's not all going to us here in Kentucky, but is this the biggest collective investment that a company has made in the state of Kentucky?
So if you put all of what GE has invested over the last several years, since I became governor, it's over $1 billion, and that makes it one of the largest investors. You look at Ford, which just did a $2 billion investment, was part of the Blue Oval, $5.8 billion, had a separate $400 million one. We've got, thankfully, a lot of huge investments that have happened. You know, since I became governor, we've had the best 2 years ever for economic development. We've broken the record for private sector investment, new jobs, the best 3-year average for wages. I think at the beginning of next year, we're going to be able to have a dynamite announcement about the average incentivized wage of jobs we helped create this year, to show people that they weren't just any job, that they were really good jobs that you could raise a family on. But GE and the sector that it's in has given us such momentum. I mean, we can look at a company and say, you can make a product in Kentucky and in America that no one else is making and said you never could. And all we've got to do is send them to Kevin Nolan and GE Appliances, and they are a testament with multiple parts of the rebuilt appliance park on how that's possible. So a big thank you. I feel like I make an announcement with GE Appliances once a month, and I'd love it if we could continue to do that, but very proud of their work. All right, so this has been a great Team Kentucky update, a lot of good news. So this Thanksgiving, let's make sure that we count our blessings, that we thank those around us for helping to make them happen, but we also remember that we have more people struggling in our country right now than we have in a while, and there are little things and big things that we can do about them. Thank you all very much.